Ready.
We are
Here we
ready.
go. Here we go. Okay. Hi, guys.
It's
It's us again.
It's raining this morning.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
can
okay.
feel it.
Well, no, it sucked as I sat there and I watered all the garden plants and stuff like that last night. Wake up and it rained overnight. Didn't need to do that. That's
You know,
okay.
when you live around here, you need to check the weather before you
I
water your
did,
garden.
but apparently it was wrong.
Oh,
So-
well, that counts too. That happens. Here.
So we gotta start off with some fun stuff because it's raining. So I got 2 Samisms for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's hear them.
First one is because I am a cool grandma now, right? So I need change, and change is expensive, and so it can be. So I decided to glitz up my car a little bit. So I got some vinyl stickers for my car, and so now it's kind of cool. And so I put those on my car the other night. And Sam got up to go to school, and he comes around the corner, and he sees my car for the first time. He's like, "Whoa, look, Grandma's car's got a tattoo." So I am now a cool grandma because I got a tattoo.
Okay. That's cute, though.
It is cute.
It is
And so
cute.
he's all excited because Grandma's got tattoos on her car. So then yesterday, because it's garden season, so you know how we did the mushroom manure in my car?
Yes.
No more. So we had some delivered.
Right.
Okay, it still stinks. So what we got? It's not that we got like stuff that hasn't quite ripe. This stuff is supposedly like garden ready. It's supposed to be all ready. It still stinks. So no
Well,
more
I've got
mushroom manure in
news
my
for
car.
you. Manure stinks.
Well, I know, but everyone's like, oh, mushroom manure because it's gone through this, it
No,
does not
no.
stink. It does stink. So just if someone ever tells you it doesn't, it does. And so we got regular garden soil and that. And I wasn't there, so I'm like, I wonder which one it is. We opened the door and I'm like, oh, we can tell for sure. And so, but they dumped it in the middle of my driveway instead of more to the side. So I said to Ramon he had to shovel a little bit more over so I could get in my driveway. And so he comes home, he's getting ready to do that. Sam comes over and he's like, "Grandpa, can we play?" And so Grandpa's like, "Oh, I gotta go do this. You can come help me." And Sam's like, "Oh, that stuff stinks." And so they proceeded to have a conversation. And Ramon was encouraging him that, it's just kind of mind over matter type thing. And he goes, just imagine it's something, that you like. And he goes, "What's something you like?" And he goes, "Oh, I love this, taco salad." And he goes, "Does it have a smell?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's taco salad smells so good." He goes, "Just imagine it's taco salad, I guess." Because now Sam's up on top of the manure pile, shoveling away, going, "This smells so great. I love it. The smell of taco salad."
I don't know what you're doing to that poor child.
It's not me.
Well, Grandpa then, okay.
It's crappy. But yeah, so
Okay.
the sad thing is I love taco salad, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to ever
Eat it again.
eat it again.
Alrighty. So, all right.
So there's your funnies for today.
That's
They're
it.
just-
We needed it today because it is kind of somewhat gloomy. Actually, I knew that the minute I stood up this morning. It was like, okay, it is damp outside today. All right. Hi, folks. This is Deborah here.
And Lori.
Okay.
You should know it by now.
And this is your weekly dose from Tom Sewing.
Yeah.
So, and just in case you didn't get it from the rain reference, we're coming to you from the Lower Mainland.
Yeah, we're in
British
Vancouver,
Columbia.
and then we have our locations out in
Chilliwack.
Chilliwack is
and,
country folk out in Chilliwack, or else Burnaby.
Yeah,
Sewing
in
Burnaby.
Burnaby. Okay, so a couple of, I forgot to get the dates down for you. The Fraser Valley Quilt Show is next weekend.
Which would be the 10th and 11th, I think. 9th, 10th, 11th. Is it Friday?
Or, thank heaven for these.
Oh, that's this weekend. Oh, next weekend. So the long weekend. So that's the 16th, which is the Friday. Is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or what days?
That was what I was trying to clarify, and I didn't.
That's next weekend.
Fraser Valley. Whoops. Helps if I spell it correctly.
Well, while she's doing that,
yeah.
I will, a couple others. So we've got the embroidery thread still on sale. I'm still buying more.
Yes.
A little
me
at a
too,
time, and
me
you just
too.
keep doing that. New fabric. Got new fabric coming in any day. We looked at it. Ooh, it is pretty. Should I give him some hints? What's Carrie going to do? Fire me? Hydrangeas, strawberries, No, sunflowers. There we go.
Yes.
So those are some themes, but oh man!
the
And
new
okay,
fabric,
again,
yes.
yellow. Not me, but apparently I seem to be. I think I
you're
fell on my
coming
head.
around, I think so, yeah.
think it was because I would like to use the fact that I sat in the car with mushroom manure, but I was getting the yellow before that, so that can't use that as the excuse. It did braid damage, but something else did it. But anyways, yeah. And so some of these nice ones with the sunflowers, it's like. Ooh.
I know. I'm also waiting for something so I can move forward with my Christmas villages. Okay, the Quilt Guild show is May the 16th and 17th. We will be there.
So
well,
are those
we?
Friday, Saturday?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Not we. I mean by we.
Well,
I mean the
I'm
store. The store. We will have a booth there. So come and check it out. Once I go home on the weekend, I rarely go out. So
well, if you want to go, I'll take you.
And we'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm a homebody.
Have fun with me.
Yeah, this. Well, I don't know. I've spent
yeah,
time
and then
with you before, so
there's yeah. So come join that. Port sale. There's a little bit of fabric
yes,
left. Very
not a lot,
so it's still 40%
but it
off.
is 40% off. So I mean, it's a great deal. It is fun fabric.
I left some behind.
Yeah, I bought 2 sets to make a twisted tote from Hoop Sisters, and one is embroidered. It's just not put together.
Cool.
So I will get on those. Again, that's on my list of projects to do. I keep remembering things I haven't done. So
I've been stitching. And so we got a new class coming up. We're just picking out the dates. You guys are kind of getting some sneak peeks. So OESD has got a new tile scene coming.
oh, I like the way you mark your tiles.
Well, you have to. Otherwise...
No, I marked them on the interface thing on the front in the seam allowance.
Yeah, but there's
This
not
is
much.
a good idea. Yeah.
Because you don't see it and then when
Yeah.
you're old and blind. So it's called Sea of Tranquility, and it's a Thomas Kincaid but so here's some of the samples.
I don't believe this video can do justice
It doesn't.
to what's coming
You
up.
can't
Yeah,
because
it's-
like there is texture and there's bumps. I mean,
Yeah.
oh well, maybe if I do it that way, you guys can kind of see that there's some
Texture
bumps. There's
and-
textures and it's raised so you get that dimension. But these are just some of the
The
blocks.
colors, it's just gorgeous. See, that makes fun.
I am, and so this should. There's 32 blocks, and they're about an hour and a half to 3 hours, depending on the block.
So
to
bring
stitch
a
out.
book when you sit down to your machine.
Well,
That's
actually,
what I do.
because like for some of these, like some stitch outs are like 15-20 minutes long, so you put that and then you can be doing something else in your sewing room. Well, that's the only reason I've gotten this money
Like
done.
cutting up.
Cutting
yeah.
other things,
Getting
using
prep.
your sewing machine and sewing, something together. Sitting in the corner and eating chocolate blueberries, chocolate acai berries.
Oh, I forgot to bring the dish back from my yogurt raisins.
That's okay.
It's
So
sitting right
look
there.
for that one. That's an embroidery one. It's going to be so much fun. That's coming. What are some other classes we've got?
Okay, well, regular ones. The Stitch and Chatter here in Surrey is May 22nd. There's the 10 a.m. in person and the 6:30 Zoom for those who can't do the in-person. And I hear the ruckus from the in-person one, so it's quite a lot of fun. So if you
And in
can,
the Zoom one, she causes the ruckus.
well, we have to be fair. And that is in Country Folk. That is May the 24th at 10 a.m. Cake Therapy is May the 28th here in Surrey, and May the 27th in Country Folk. The Fabric Covered Rug. That is at the end of May, May the 31st. Looks like fun. So if you're ever interested in making some of those rugs or, mug rugs of that shape or anything, great time to get it, to get in there and find out how it's done. Learn those little tips and tricks that make it a lot easier to accomplish
Yeah.
some of these things, right?
So, we got our sit and sew on May 12th here. We've got the spring cleaning classes. They've started.
They started yesterday, and really a lot of helpful information and hints. She gives, this is what she does outside of when she's teaching here. This is actually her career. So her insight into some of these things is just the way she phrases it and puts it down, and like step by step. And some of those things, like some of us aren't as organized as some people, such myself. I'm nowhere near as organized as she is. So,
And I am.
Nor is her level my goal, but I do want more than I have. So,
And even if you don't aim, your goal isn't where she's at, just even
It's helpful.
one tip can, just change things a little bit. And so it doesn't have to be like an all-out, let's organize everything, because that can be very overwhelming. So just sit there, even if I get one tip and one thing to do in one area.
yeah.
that
And I think that's what it is. Like, for me to look at the whole thing, it's very overwhelming. Like, especially if you have a hobby like sewing or crafting, because there's a lot of things that go with that hobby. So, and I have a tendency to surround myself and almost build walls.
Yes.
So to have somebody even just give me a couple of little hints of how to, like chop the walls down a little bit and put them in an area and get little tips and ideas, of which she's very full of. So if this comes up again, it'd be a great opportunity for people. It's not just spring, and it's not just for your hobby. It can become something that you can implement into your life.
Yeah. And then we have the Embroidery Basics. That starts this week, but it's full. So if it's interested in taking it, it starts again in July. That's going to be lots of fun.
There's another go round and a couple.
So yeah, it's a class that's designed. It's step by step. So it's a 4-part class. So you take one, and that's the basics, and then class 2 is built on what we've learned and expanding from class 1 into class 2 to class 3. And so it really is one of those classes that it's not like a pick and choose. It's like that's why it's designed all 4. So it's entry and then just increasing your knowledge.
Yeah, you can learn a lot, even if you've been embroidering for years, such as myself. There's still so much to learn, and in a group you can even learn more or get insights into other things. Serger Club starts June the 4th in Chilliwack. It's the ruffled tea towel. It's kind of cute, and there's a series, and you don't have to sign up for all of them. Learn to use your sewing machine in Chilliwack. If you purchase your machine from us, you need to call the store to set up your lesson, because it is no charge. If you're coming back into sewing and you want a refresher course, then you can just apply online and get your space in there. So I think we're now going to turn to our topic of the day, Tech Talk today.
Yes, we got. I can turn it so we can see you.
Okay, we got Dayna with us. Hi, everybody. I just thought I'd pop in for a short one today. We always talk about sewing machines when we do Tech Talk. Generally, we're talking about things that can help you enjoy your sewing more, or something that we've found that you can do to keep your sewing machine running longer. All of that is important, but we thought we would kind of veer off of that topic for a little bit and talk about some things that we recently learned regarding embroidery and using your embroidery machine. So the first one is, I wanted to talk a little bit about tensions. I have 2 different things that we learned recently about, and wait a minute, let me clarify. When we say we mean Joel and I, we are newer at this than Tom is by 100 times probably, and Tom knows all these things and knew them already, but he's taught us, and so it was kind of new to Joel and myself. So one of them is about tension regarding your bobbin cases, and just in case any of you are not familiar with how embroidery machines handle their tension, there's a lot of different ways that they create the tension, but a lot of them allow you to use different bobbin cases in your machine when you're doing embroidery versus when you're doing regular sewing. So for those machines that do both, you can, instead of having to fiddle with your tensions all the time, you can actually have a bobbin case that is set for the proper tension to pull that thread down to the bottom like you normally would want it. So if you have something like this apron where we don't really see the back, so we don't care what the back looks like, you generally want to have all of your top thread go down to the bottom so that you don't see any of your bobbin thread showing through. And that allows you to use something like bobbin fill. Is that what we use? Yeah. And so there is a particular type of bobbin thread that you need to use on some machines, so pay attention to that. But in general, I wanted to mention these bobbin cases because if you have a baby lock embroidery machine, you're going to have it in a machine that does both. You'll have a bobbin case that has a green kind of a paint over the tension screw on the bobbin case. You'll see it right away if you look inside. And then there is one that has no paint on it. So for baby lock in general, the green paint is for regular sewing and no paint at all is for your embroidery.
Janome has the same thing. Janome,
yes. But let's let Lori do a little quiz time. Can you remember which one is which?
Sure. No, actually.
No.
And the reason for, well, off the top of my head is I know like there's the red dot and then the yellow dot for Janome. I have not switched my embroidery machine over to sewing in a long time because I have my M7. So you just
use the yellow then.
So so my yellow is the one that's in there, and I'm just trying to remember what color is in there because I knew when I was switching it back and forth which one was which, but I'm like, since I bought my M7
you probably
about 4 or 5 years
only
ago,
use it for embroidery now.
That one's going embroidery, that one's going for sewing.
Well, you're right. The yellow dot is for embroidery on a Janome. The red dot is your normal sewing, although there is one model. I don't remember which one it is, but one model has them reversed. Yes. So anyway, read your manual.
Your manual should always be close.
Yes.
So that you can double check those things.
Very much so. Now, that covers the bobbin case part of tension, but there is another thing that we learned a couple of days ago. Like literally we have one customer that came in. I almost called the customer the patient. The machine was the patient. So just on this one job, we learned all three of these things that we'll talk about today. So the second thing that I learned was that sometimes we'll do a machine, and when we do service on a machine, you'll notice that we always do a sew out. We do all of the checks and the adjustments and the repairs, and then we do a sample. That sample might include some parts of it that don't look all that great because it's how we test the fine tuning of the machine. So when we see an issue with the first couple of things that we put on the sew out, we tweak it and we get it just right so that the last one on there, you'll notice, has really as close to perfect tension as we can get. And in general, we want to see that bobbin thread which is usually white. We use a contrasting thread for the top, and we want to see 1/3 on each side of the top thread showing on the back, and then the middle strip of 1/3 should be the bobbin thread. That's how we usually set it up for the internal embroidery designs, the things that are already on your machine. So think letters and basic designs that just came with your machine. But sometimes we have a customer come in and they're saying, this one, it just had it serviced a month ago and the tension was perfect, and now I've got this design that I bought and the tensions are all weird. Like it looks like I'm using a regular sewing bobbin case, because the tensions are basically meeting in the middle like you would want them to. So you see top on the top and bottom on the bottom, but it's not pulling that top thread down. So the thing that I wanted to mention today is when you purchase a design, some designers build into their design tension adjustments. So if they design for your machine, they will literally work into the programming that it will lower the tension on the top for some reason. And in general, not always, but in general, this happens when you are using a design that is meant to be done with the same thread on top and bottom, because it is a two-sided design. So the one that we were looking at, for instance, it looked like something like a bookmark. So if you think about, you've sandwiched your two fabrics and there's a stabilizer in the middle, or maybe even a batting. What's the batting the
Battleizer.
Battleizer, that was what was in there. And this was meant to be sewn together on the edges with all of this with your embroidery thread, but it was then meant to be cut out, and it was a two-sided project, right? So that's why when she tested it with like a regular bobbin thread on the bottom and then a colored thread on the top, it just did not come out like we were expecting. So just remember that if you purchase a design and your tensions aren't going the way that you thought they should, it's probably because it's been built into the design. And we can help you with that here at Tom's. We can help you adjust that or figure out what you want to do to compensate for that.
Yeah, it usually when it's doing that though, it's for a purpose. Like
it's for a purpose.
It's the edges. So on that one, she probably should have changed the bobbin thread to match the top one, because you don't want to see the bobbin thread. So
right, you don't want to see anything.
There's another one, like if they're using like puffy foam or something like that,
yes,
they will change the tension because they need more thread
That's
on the
right.
top because you're building it up. So yeah, those things, usually it's there for a reason. You don't want to necessarily mess around with it.
Joel and I consider ourselves like new to embroidery. We've done a little bit, but very little, and we know a lot about the machine, but not as much about the project. So it was really interesting to me, and I thought, well, for someone new at embroidery, maybe they've only done two-dimensional design so far. That's something to consider.
That's why you need to take my
that's why you need to take her class. So the third thing,
plug it.
Yeah.
the third thing we learned the other day was really a mind blower for me, and it actually was kind of a mind blower for a lot of us here at the store. A lot of us did not realize this, and it was the same customer had brought in a sample where she was like, I think oil is getting on my threads, and maybe something is going on inside, maybe with the bobbin case or the check spring or some other part that the thread runs against, and maybe there's oil getting on it. And we looked at it and we said, yeah, it looks like oil. But it was another instance of really solid embroidery. So think satin stitch, like a really wide satin stitch. So the needle was going in and out and in and out really close to one another. And so it would do it for about 6 or 7 stitches back and forth, and then it wouldn't do it for a while, and then it would do it again, and then it wouldn't do it a while. And Tom walks in after we've puzzled over it for like a good 5-10 minutes. And Joel's probably worked on it for 20 more minutes, trying to check and make sure everything's clean, which is good. But it was not caused by that. It was caused by the fact that this particular design was done. It was using white thread on white fabric, but not just that. It was the fabric itself was white printed on white, so white on white. And I have an example here that it doesn't show it as well as the customer's example, but we sent that home with the customer as we typically do.
Okay, so I'm just going to flip this around.
So you can just almost make out that everywhere there is a polka dot on this fabric. I don't know.
There we go.
See if you can focus on my finger.
There we go.
So everywhere there is a printed white polka dot on this white fabric, there is a bit of gray showing just at the edges where the thread goes into the fabric. Now, if you can't make it out on this video, my apologies, but just take my word for it. You can see it. And when we start doing, here's an example. I just took a brand new, just straight out of the pack needle and scratched across this white dot, and you can see the gray coming out. Tom's explanation for this is that he learned some time ago that in the printing process, when they make the ink or whatever they call this, is it ink? I don't know. The printer's ink that goes onto the fabric, the dye.
Whatever.
The whiter it is, the more black pigment it contains within the formula of this white. Don't ask me. I don't know how this works. It sounds like magic to me, but maybe it's anti-magic in this case. Anyway, what you want to remember from this is that if you're going to do a design on white fabric, you might not want to use a lighter colored thread. If your design calls for a lighter colored thread on your white fabric, don't use white on white. In fact, it'll still happen even if your background fabric is not white. This will happen anytime there is a really solidly white design printed onto your fabric. So it's just something to keep in mind. It's good to know for those of us, not me, but those of us who are perfectionists when we make things. Not me at all. I get really irritated when I try to make.
It might thunder. Move over. I'm not the one getting struck by accident.
No. I don't know. I'm sure that there's a few people out there like me. I just get really irritated when I spend 72 hours making something and then I see little bits of gray on my project. So anyway, that is what you keep in mind. Just if you use a printed fabric as the base for your embroidery, you want to make sure that if there are white elements of that design, that you're using a darker colored thread to go through that, or at least test it first.
Yeah.
Some of them may not do it as much as others. This one did not do it in as much pronounced way as the customers did. It could have been that the quality of the fabric was different. It could have just been the dye was different. Whatever it was.
Or the intensity
of the white, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's my 3 things that I learned the other day, and good to see good to see you guys. And
Now we're gonna send her back to the back.
yeah,
These are things that sometimes when it pops up for you, at least having an explanation of why saves you the frustration of trying to figure out, like, continually moving through it. If you're okay with it, great. If it's going to drive you nuts, then you might want to pick, just, if you want white, then just pick white and not the white on white, because that's where it's happening when there's the extra white, because they have to do something to make it stand out, make the design stand out. So bear it in mind. They're all important little things. And again, have your instruction book with you.
Yes.
So that you know which bobbin case you should be using, the number of times I refer to them, and I've owned one of the machines for like 15 years. Still go in and check it out, because it's helpful. That little thing, this is a different item or a different technique or something. Just check it out. Make sure you're moving through it the way you're supposed to be doing it.
Yes. All right. I think that's it.
That is it for this week. Yeah, I think that's it.
Next week we have Tom.
Yeah, next week is Tom.
That's gonna be fun.
That will be a fun one. So, that's it for this week. If you have any garden dreams for this year, today would be a good day to go out there and turn the soil over, get it started, or whatever, because like the rain is the perfect temperature for watering. So off you go. It is, we do live in the garden world, so
yes. And so have some fun.
Yes.
And
maybe you'll smell
coming
Marie's
in.
manure.
Our neighbor. It's not that potent. You got to be close to it. So, but oh well.
Oh, it's taco salad.
It's taco salad. Maybe I'll put a sign on it. This is not mushroom manure. This is taco salad. Just enjoy. Yeah, I should make taco salad for dinner.
There you go. Oh yes, do that. Do it.
Where'd the meat come from? Don't want to know.
Backyard. All right.
All right, so have a great week. We will talk to you next week. You might want to pop in every day for the next week until the new fabric comes in so you can be first to see it.
Or watch your email.
Or watch your email.
Yes.
But if you can come in, you can check out the other fabric too.
This is true.
And
because
see,
like there's still
and see
nice
all of us
fabric.
in the,
Fabulous.
and see everyone in the store and say hi.
Yeah, come say hi.
All right.
See us in person.
Have a great week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.